Maxed it because Zuyo's gonna hit different. Now it's Nahor time. Nahor time, baby. Nahor time. What if I get 2 though? That'd be insane, right? Back to back Nahor. Back to back Nahor. I'll take the first one. Thank you very much. I'll take that one as well. Ah, it's okay though. It's okay. I'll take that. Hey, come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Here we go. Big D for Lily. Here we go. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. What do I build? No. What do I build? Oh, shit. What do I build? Oh, no. Wait. I was about to build Nahor, but now I'm going to build this. Nah, fuck. Today, I'm doing an honest review for Nahor, the newest blue SSR in the game, so you can watch this and decide whether you want to hit pity for this guy or not, because I hit pity for him. I also put 6 different lattes into skill 1 for the speed, and I really want to get the defense down to 2 turn. I also put 3 into skill 3 for the better chance of freezing as well as stunning. I gotta say, after playing with him for about 2-3 hours in different kind of content, and he was being very inconsistent, even with this amount of skill up, I would say I wouldn't really use him without the skill up investment, because he's gonna be a very inconsistent support character. And because the lack of slow debuff and turn meter manipulation in this guy's kit, he will not be a replacement to your claws. And I happened to pull claws on stream, so it was a very hard decision to make whether I should skill him up or skill the obvious very good option. And I went for content and I maxed his skill. I mean, kind of maxed his skill. So if you can leave a like on the video, that'd be much appreciated. So what is Nahor gonna do for your team? The easiest way to build his character is gonna be building him with high speed and high accuracy. So I go with triple accuracy on the right side. You might reduce the accuracy a little bit to maybe like 180. I think it's gonna be okay. But we went with very good accuracy. The shell I'm going for is gonna be Jackal Guard. You can also go for Codex of Magic. You can also go for Dark Moon to make the defense break last a bit longer. You can go for many kind of different support shell, but because I want to use him in Doky Doi and he needs to outspeed the enemy team, I needed to invest into the best speed shell that I have, which is going to be Jackal Guard. If I run him on Codex of Magic, which is so much better if you don't max a skill 3, I wouldn't have the speed to outspeed Doky Doi, not yet, even with red speed on Codex of Magic. So he's going to be on Jackal Guard for now. So where do you use Nahor? I think for a casual player and you are new to the game and you just get to Nikona Inferno and you have a decent speed set that is like plus 130, for example, I think Nahor is going to be a very strong character for this content. When you go into this boss, you want to do 2 things, right? You want to defense break the boss to start doing damage, and you don't want the left minion to stun your character, which is very annoying. It might stun your damage dealer, and this guy solved that problem. He can defense break the boss for you and stop the minion from buffing the boss and stunning your team. So on paper, that was like one of the best things to ever happen to your run, right? But after playing for like 10 runs in a row, I would say that you might miss the defense break on the boss, and then your damage become pretty shit. You might miss the stun on the minion, and because you don't have any other secondary CC, for example, then it can also be shit. And because it doesn't have any turn manipulation, his skill 2 is not going to do too much. He will block the buff if the right minion decides to buff, and he can do some secondary defense break, but you really want the skill up for the 2-turn defense break. So as you can see right here, I just did a 35-second run for Nikona. If you're like mid-end game, this can be your speed team for Nikona. But you kind of need to have your damage dealer on very, very good damage dealer set. And I don't know if my set is end game or not, but it's not too shabby. So I have Rosa on high damage on Revelation, and I have my Ditting on very good attack and crit damage as well. So you can probably just one-shot the boss, but I don't think you guys have a lot of problem with Nikona Inferno at the moment. But let's say you don't have Ditting. You have 1 damage deal, you have a buffer right here, and you run with, let's say, Linglo for the healer slot. Or if you don't have Linglo, you run Vice, for example. then the run will be a bit longer, but because he can block buff, which is really good for the right minion, and he can defense break for more damage, and he can freeze the left one so it won't stun you, this will still be a very solid run and a very solid team in general. If you don't have Tsukiyomi, you can replace with any other support character to make the run even safer. So it should be a very good unit for Nikona Inferno. And Nikona Inferno is one of the biggest hurdle for like early mid-game player, because you get here, you need to farm this fucking dungeon for a long time, okay? This is one of the most important dungeon to farm, so you gotta stay here for a long time to farm. I think this guy, best job is in this dungeon in particular, because whatever he does is beneficial to your run. He frees the ad, he defense break the main boss, he block the buff, he do secondary defense break with skill 1. Everything that he does is very, very good for this dungeon, in this dungeon alone in particular. But for the mid-game to end-game advanced player, you might want to use him in Shadow Flame Hoyen to do the same thing, which is to pretty much kill the boss as quickly as possible. In this dungeon, the ads is also very annoying, and he's very good at shutting down the ads and defense break the main boss. However, this dungeon is not very forgiving if you miss anything. If you miss the death break, then you don't do damage. If you miss the stun on the ads, then you kind of fucked. If you're going for this kind of team that is going to be very, very fast, speedy, clear kind of team, and your damage dealer need to be built really well, because they didn't nerf this boss HP at all. Even with my team that I think is not too shabby, I can't really kill this thing fast enough. So you can tune this guy on Codex of Magic so that he can pretty much move again after this, and he can absolutely freeze the ads again. But you gotta time him properly. He gotta be like a bit too slow, and if you land a slow on the ads, it might be a little bit tricky because the ads will not go in the way that you actually want. Let's say I reduce cooldown here, the thing starts to move, it can easily kill you. So the dungeon is not very forgiving, and you need to gear your damage dealer really well. So I imagine in the future where my gear is better, let's say I run a better shell with old red passive, then I can probably triple hit and kill the boss with whatever team I'm using, right? And then maybe, just maybe, we can do a speed run Shadow Flame Hoyen. But right now, my gear is just not fast enough or do enough damage, which is gonna be the problem. Shit, I forgot to hit replay so that I can save 1 stamina. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. And the same concept can be applied to Rengokutsu as well, but this guy is even tankier. And the RNG of the turn 1 element is really, really bad. So I'm going to ignore this dungeon for now. It's way too hard for even me to try to go through. But I can see that if I just have better gear on my Ditting or better gear on my Rosa, and I can kill the boss a bit quicker. Let's say if I don't have Rosa, right? Let's say I'm a pay-to-win gamer and I own a Yeli. Then I think I would actually be able to kill the boss much quicker, because Yeli does more single target damage, more explosive damage than Rosa, and she has better base stat than Rosa. Rosa has like 900 base attack. This girl has 1200 base attack. So if I own a Yeli, you can probably one-shot the boss with Ditting and Yeli combination, and that'll be a very solid run. And Yeli also bring a secondary defense break to make the run even more consistent. Another very obvious place to use his character is going to be in Doky Doi. So his job is to start off the run with an AoE stun, which is very, very good. So this is my Doky Doi team. I have double Revelation. You can also run a Remoka team with him. I think that's going to be actually way better than this team. But for this team, in this position, I was running Kazuya the Reverie, who's easier to build and faster base speed, easier to outspeed the dungeon as well. Overall, Kazuya is probably going to be a better character than this guy. However, this guy can bring defense break, which allow you to do more damage, which mean if your gear is not as good, then I think Nahor is going to provide more damage for you. So for this team, we're going to start off with the AoE stun from Nahor, and then with defense break, my Rosa can't kill the entire wave, unfortunately. Even with defense break, she can kill the one that she target very easily with the skill 1 follow-up. However, she can't really one-shot the wave even with defense break on. And now Messiah will do the follow-up cleanup damage. And with defense break, I think even if you miss a stun, you have a decent chance of killing whoever's left, potentially. Okay, potentially. And then the sequence is pretty much the same. However, I like using Kazuya in my team more than Nahor at the moment, because Kazuya cooldown for skill 3 is only 3 turns. So for a long time in this particular team that I'm using, okay, non-Remoka team, then he's not really doing anything for the team. He might land defense break on the main guy, but my problem is not killing the main guy. My problem is keeping up the control on the entire enemy team and kill them with double revelation damage. So you can replace my Messiah with Kazuyo, for example, and it's going to do the same thing as well. I showed it on a different video on my channel. So he's only there for literally the first turn to stun the entire enemy team, which is great, but it's not very unique, right? I can use any other character for that. So if someone survives, he can have the stun and then he's gonna die to my follow-up damage. Not a big deal, but overall, he doesn't do anything too special for my Doky Doi team, for example. However, if you're running a Remoka team, I don't have Remoka build to show you guys. Unfortunately, I would love to do that. So this is your standard Remoka team. There have been so many YouTube videos showcasing this team. You can see it in-game as well. You have Yang to attack buff, Claws to defense break, Kazuyo to sleep them to take away the damage reduction, and then Remoka go boom boom. And usually people have like an LD SSR here to make sure that your team do it again, like Mio for example. And your Claws gonna be on Codex of Magic. Your Kazuyo might be on Codex of Magic as well. But let's say you add in Nahor. So Nahor is going to be here because even with max accuracy, your Claws might miss a defense break. Your Kazuyo might miss a sleep. Your Remoka might target a character that doesn't have the debuff on it and you lose the run. But Nahor is a plan B for both Remoka and Kazuyo in the same unit. He can provide a death break. He can provide the stun to take away the enemy damage reduction and allow you to kill the enemy team much easier. So with this addition to your team, not to replace Claws by the way, because if you miss a defense break, you might get shit on. So if you have another defense break, let's say you put in Gray for example, you kind of need to have double defense breaks to make sure that you land your defense break. So don't replace Claws in this team with Nahor. I would say not very consistent. But if you have Nahor on Codex of Magic, Claws on Codex of Magic, and then you have two different units to defense break, and Nahor in the second turn can provide the AoE stun for the team as well. So I think this is going to be like a sort of Nahor Doky Doi Remoka team without LD SSR, and it's going to be very safe and very consistent because you have 2 layers of control and 2 layers of defense break for your Remoka. I've also tried Nahor in Aurora, and I gotta say, he's skill 3 first, so you cannot use him as a dedicated strip, which is kind of sad. And his defense break plus stun is only good for the defense break because you cannot really stun anything here. And his strip will be used whenever he has it, so it won't be able to time it with the right ads properly. And the block buff will be really good if the right ads doesn't have a fucking cleanse. Alright, I've got a block. We've got 5 debuff. All right, the thing's going to do the thing. It cleansed the block. Oh my god, dude. So it can cleanse the block buff away and buff immunity as usual. So overall, I'm not a huge fan of this guy in Aurora. I will just run one single strip, let's say Hoyen. And then if I don't have Hoyen, I'm just going to use Viper. And I run cooldown reduction units so that they can do it as often as they can and kill Aurora boss that way, instead of using this guy. The defense break is not too important because my main damage is going to be Rosa and she's using Revelation. If you're running Seada, I'm pretty sure your Seada is on Revelation as well, and Seada has its own defense break, so you don't need the Nahor defense break for your Seada either. So I'm not sure if he has a purpose in this content unless they fix the AI or improve the AI so that these buff remover only use the buff stripping skill when there's a buff on the enemy. That'll be great. Other than that, I have cleared a lot of different content in the game without the need for AoE defense break, especially Ember Track. I don't think AoE defense break is that important. I'd rather run dot team when I feel like I need to do AoE damage. Even without Shadow Senate, I would still run a dot team because that is just way faster and less RNG than doing actual damage, because the HP inflation in this content is absolutely insane. So I've been using Rosa and Revelation, and I feel no need to have AoE defense break at all, and I wouldn't really use him over Claws in any of these content. I'd rather build like Kachi the God Vice to control the enemy team better and just rely on Revelation for damage. Until they nerf Revelation, if they ever do, then that's a different story. Then maybe Nahor value is gonna rise. Who knows, right, in the future. What about PvP? So when I go into PvP, and I use Nahor. So right now, this is my team, right? I run Kazuyo for the turn 1 CC, 2 different damage dealer, and I run my Freya to follow up after, or I run Valerian, for example. I don't even need to run Freya in there to actually outspeed the enemy. So Nahor base speed is not exactly incredible. Nahor would not comfortably outspeed a Mio or outspeed a Lily. However, when I use my Kazuyo with a higher base speed, I have much more confidence in trying to play the speed game in arena offense. And the same can apply to RTA as well. If I can outspeed with Nahor, absolutely incredible. AoE stun, AoE defense break setup for my damage dealer, love it. But if I don't, then that's a different story. So maybe he's going to be a PvP unit down the line where I have more gear and a better team setup for him. But right now, running a green cast for my arena is more than enough. And I don't think he's that much better than, let's say, using a fucking Obo. And I can max skill Obo way easier than comparing to Nahor. And I think PvP is not really a concern for many players in the game right now. You just kind of do it for participation reward and dip. The most important part is PvE, and overall, I don't think he's very worth it to invest. And if you don't invest into him, then I wouldn't really use him at all for any real purpose, except for Nikona Inferno. That is pretty much it. Oh wait, hold up. There's one crazy thing that I can do, which is going to be this content. Oh my god, it's actually funny. So when you play GP Outpost blue color, the thing here revenge you. It wastes a lot of time. It is very annoying. However, if you run Nahor and you AoE freeze them turn 1 and set up for your damage dealer, then they don't revenge you. And that can save you time. Oh, fuck. You get resisted. They still revenge you, and then you do your damage to clear the thing. So it can save you a couple seconds, which can add up to like a couple of minutes, add up to a couple hours on double drop day. And times is money. So using Nahor in here is saving you money by saving you time. Something like that. I don't know. Overall, I would give Nahor like a 5 out of 10. I wouldn't really invest into this guy. Did I regret? Okay. The biggest conclusion. Did I regret this character? I wholeheartedly do. If I can have a reset event right now, I would reset this guy instantly. There's absolutely no reason for me personally to build this guy. He doesn't help me do anything that I've already done better. So there's just no reason for me to build this guy at the moment of the game. I don't think he improved my quality of life in any content whatsoever, because I can already do them with such comfort, even on very heavy investment. With that investment, I wouldn't even bother, man. Like, nah, not really. So if you're new to the game and you happen to pull him, then he's going to be great for Nikona. You don't have to make it a point to pull him. I think Claus is still vastly better for the content that she's in. Like, this character right here is good for almost everything. Like, you click on any content of the game that is hard, she showed up. She's so fucking good because of the AoE slow debuff. It's just incredible. She can also steal their turn meter, and the hack in progress reduce their damage output on your team. So one character literally has everything in her own kit to help you move faster, do more damage, and survive better. Nahor, not so much, okay? Not a huge fan of Nahor. Maybe in the future when my gear is so good, so perfect, then I can one-shot bosses, then this guy is going to be pretty good. And I'll worry about that in 3 months, not now. Right now, not a very good investment. I don't think you should make it a point to pull him in any shape or form. I'm not sure about the other character yet, but I will talk to people who max skill her, who use her properly. Then I'll update you guys tomorrow. For now, don't have to go all out for summon. Save your summon and wait. Relax. Don't pull him. There's no FOMO in this banner whatsoever.